The golden age of Hollywood was a defining era in film history, spanning from 1927 to 1960. It began with the release of The Jazz Singer in 1927, the first feature-length film with synchronized dialogue, which marked the industry's transition from silent films to sound. Over the next 3 decades, the studio system would dominate, producing stars, genres, and storytelling conventions that shaped what cinema would become. This video explores the best films from that iconic period, according to IMDb users. For those unfamiliar, IMDb is one of the largest and most influential film websites in the world, where millions of users rate and review movies. While the rankings aren't definitive, they reflect which classics continue to resonate with audiences today. So whether you're new to these films or revisiting old favorites, this is a look at the golden age at its very best. Double Indemnity, 1944. Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity is the quintessential film noir, a taut, smoky tale of lust, betrayal, and inevitable downfall. Fred MacMurray plays Walter Neff, an insurance salesman who falls for Barbara Stanwyck's icy femme fatale, Phyllis Dietrichson. Together, they plot to kill her husband and collect the payout. But as the body count rises, so does the sense that fate is closing in. With razor-sharp dialogue co-written by Raymond Chandler, moody shadows, and a fatalistic tone dripping in moral decay, Double Indemnity defined the noir genre's visual and thematic blueprint. It's a story where every step forward leads closer to ruin, and where no one ever really gets away clean. M. 1931. Fritz Lang's M is a chilling, expressionistic thriller that's often considered the first true serial killer film, and one of the most haunting indictments of mob justice ever put on screen. Set in a city paralyzed by fear, the story follows the hunt for a child murderer played with disturbing nuance by Peter Lorre in his breakout role. As pressure mounts, both the police and the criminal underworld race to find him, leading to a finale that's as morally murky as it is unforgettable. With its eerie use of sound, most notably a whistled motif, and stark visual style, M feels decades ahead of its time. We covered this film more in our Underrated Gems video, linked below. And it remains essential viewing for anyone who thinks suspense began with just Hitchcock. Singin' in the Rain, 1952. Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen's Singin' in the Rain is pure cinematic joy, a technicolor celebration of Hollywood's transition from silent films to sound, told with wit, charm, and dazzling choreography. Gene Kelly stars as Don Lockwood, a silent film star struggling to adapt to the talkie era, alongside Donald O'Connor's acrobatic sidekick and Debbie Reynolds' fresh-faced ingenue. The film pokes fun at industry growing pains while delivering one iconic musical number after another. None more famous than Kelly's rain-soaked, umbrella-twirling dance through the streets. With its infectious energy, sharp satire, and show-stopping set pieces, Singin' in the Rain isn't just a great musical. It's a love letter to the movies themselves. Metropolis, 1927. Fritz Lang's Metropolis is a towering achievement of silent cinema and a cornerstone of science fiction filmmaking. Set in a sprawling futuristic city divided by class, a paradise above, a nightmare below. The film follows Freder, the privileged son of the city's ruler, as he discovers the brutal reality faced by the workers and joins a movement for unity. With groundbreaking special effects, colossal sets, and revolutionary design, Metropolis paints a stark warning about unchecked industrialism and dehumanization. Its imagery, robotic laborers, the Maschinenmensch, the rising towers, feels as iconic today as it did nearly a century ago. Both visionary and cautionary, Metropolis laid the blueprint for the dystopian future on film. Ikiru, 1952. Akira Kurosawa's Ikiru is a quiet, contemplative masterpiece about finding meaning in the face of mortality. Takashi Shimura delivers a haunting performance as Kanji Watanabe, a weary bureaucrat who learns he has terminal cancer and realizes he spent his life doing nothing of real significance. What follows is a gentle but profound journey as he searches for purpose in a world of red tape and routine. Kurosawa trades his usual samurai epics for something more intimate, using stillness, silence, and snow to mirror Watanabe's internal transformation. The image of him on a swing, softly singing in the dark, lingers long after the credits roll. Ikiru isn't just about death, it's about truly living. The Apartment, 1960. Billy Wilder's The Apartment is a bittersweet blend of romance, cynicism, and quiet dignity set against the gray flannel world of corporate Manhattan. Jack Lemmon stars as C.C. Baxter, a lonely office worker who lends out his apartment to philandering executives in hopes of climbing the company ladder. But things get complicated when he falls for elevator operator Fran Kubelik, played with fragile grace by Shirley MacLaine. What begins as a sharp social satire slowly unfolds into a tender, melancholic love story about self-respect and second chances. With Wilder's razor-sharp dialogue and a pitch-perfect balance of humor and heartbreak, The Apartment proves that sometimes doing the right thing means walking away from everything else. North by Northwest, 1959. Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest is a sleek, stylish thriller that laid the groundwork for the modern spy film. Long before James Bond ever ordered a martini, Cary Grant plays Roger Thornhill, a suave ad man mistaken for a government agent, who's suddenly thrust into a deadly game of espionage, deception, and cross-country pursuit. From the United Nations to Mount Rushmore, the film delivers iconic set pieces, most famously, a low-flying crop duster attack in the middle of nowhere. With a sharp script, Bernard Herrmann's pulsating score, and Grant's effortless charm, North by Northwest plays like the prototype for the globe-trotting action hero. It's espionage with elegance. Danger never looked so debonair. Citizen Kane, 1941. Orson Welles' Citizen Kane is often hailed as the most influential film ever made, and for good reason. At just 25, Welles co-wrote, directed, and starred in this sweeping portrait of Charles Foster Kane, a media tycoon whose rise to power is as grand as his personal decline is tragic. Told through fragmented flashbacks and pioneering cinematography by Greg Toland. The film reshaped visual storytelling with deep focus shots, nonlinear structure, and bold lighting choices. As journalists chase the meaning behind Kane's final word, Rosebud, the film unravels a complex man built from ambition, ego, and lost innocence. Citizen Kane isn't just a film, it's a revolution disguised as a biography. The Great Dictator, 1940. Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator is a bold and biting satire that dared to mock tyranny at a time when the world was inching toward global war. Chaplin plays dual roles: a Jewish barber caught in the machinery of fascism, and Adenoid Hinkle, a thinly veiled caricature of Hitler, complete with manic speeches and absurd power plays. The film blends slapstick comedy with political urgency, using laughter as a weapon against fear. At its core is one of cinema's most stirring moments, an unscripted final speech that breaks character and speaks directly to humanity. With courage, compassion, and unmistakable Chaplin wit, The Great Dictator remains a timeless act of artistic resistance. Witness for the Prosecution, 1957. Billy Wilder's Witness for the Prosecution is a gripping courtroom thriller, layered with twists, wit, and razor-sharp performances. Based on Agatha Christie's stage play, the film stars Charles Laughton, best known as an actor, but also the director of The Night of the Hunter, a haunting one-off we also covered in our Underrated Gems video, linked below. He plays Sir Wilfrid Robarts, a sharp-tongued barrister recovering from a heart attack, who takes on the defense of Leonard Vole, played by Tyrone Power, accused of murdering a wealthy widow. As the case unfolds, nothing is as it seems, especially when Marlene Dietrich's enigmatic performance as Vole's wife turns the trial on its head. Wilder masterfully blends dry humor with high-stakes tension, delivering one of the most shocking third acts in classic cinema. with airtight pacing and theatrical flair. Witness for the prosecution keeps audiences guessing until the final gavel. Paths of Glory, 1957. Stanley Kubrick's Paths of Glory is a searing anti-war drama that strips away the romance of battle to expose the brutal machinery of military hierarchy. Set during World War I, the film follows Colonel Dax, played with quiet intensity by Kirk Douglas, as he defends 3 soldiers wrongfully accused of cowardice after a failed assault. Shot with stark realism and grim symmetry, Kubrick's camera weaves through muddy trenches and marble courtrooms to highlight the absurdity and cruelty of war. The contrast between the frontline suffering and the detached arrogance of command is as chilling as it is enraging. With its haunting final scene and moral clarity, Paths of Glory stands as one of cinema's most devastating indictments of institutional injustice. Sunset Boulevard, 1950. Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard is a dark, razor-sharp indictment of Hollywood's dream machine and the ghosts it leaves behind. William Holden plays Joe Gillis, a down-on-his-luck screenwriter who stumbles into the decaying mansion of Norma Desmond, an aging silent film star clinging to faded glory, brought to life with eerie brilliance by Gloria Swanson. As their twisted relationship spirals, the film becomes a haunting study of delusion, desperation, and the cruel passage of time. With moody noir lighting, a biting script, and the unforgettable line, "I am big, it's the pictures that got small," Sunset Boulevard is both elegy and expose, a glamorous nightmare from which Hollywood never fully woke up. City Lights, 1931. Charlie Chaplin's City Lights is a silent-era masterpiece that blends heartfelt emotion with timeless comedy, showcasing the little tramp character at his most tender and selfless. In this poignant tale, the tramp falls for a blind flower girl who mistakes him for a wealthy gentleman. Determined to help her regain her sight, he embarks on a series of misadventures, including a drunken millionaire, a boxing match, and moments of quiet desperation, all in the name of love. With no spoken dialogue, Chaplin crafts a deeply expressive story through movement, music, and unmatched pathos. The final scene, simple, emotional, unforgettable, cements City Lights as one of cinema's most moving reflections on love, sacrifice, and dignity. Modern Times, 1936. Modern Times is a brilliantly satirical takedown of industrialization and the dehumanizing grind of modern life. Written, directed, edited, and starring Charlie Chaplin as the Little Tramp. He stumbles through a world of assembly lines, automation, and economic hardship, caught in the gears of a system that values efficiency over humanity. Blending slapstick comedy with sharp social commentary, the film tackles the anxieties of the Great Depression with grace, humor, and heart. Paulette Goddard joins as the spirited gamin, adding warmth to a story full of cold machinery. Though largely silent, Modern Times speaks volumes, culminating in one of cinema's most hopeful endings, the tramp and his companion walking toward an uncertain future with quiet resilience. Casablanca, 1942. Casablanca is a wartime romance wrapped in smoky intrigue, set against the backdrop of Nazi-occupied Morocco. Humphrey Bogart stars as Rick Blaine, the jaded nightclub owner whose past catches up with him when Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman, walks back into his life, alongside her resistance leader husband. Torn between love and duty, Rick must decide where his loyalties truly lie. With razor-sharp dialogue, unforgettable performances, and Max Steiner's stirring score, the film delivers iconic lines like,
"He's looking at you, kid."
Timeless, bittersweet, and impossibly cool, Casablanca is more than a love story. It's a meditation on sacrifice, redemption, and the enduring sting of what might have been. Rear Window, 1954. Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window is a masterclass in suspense and voyeurism, turning one Greenwich Village apartment complex into a living, breathing stage of intrigue. James Stewart plays a photojournalist sidelined with a broken leg, who spends his days spying on neighbors through his window, until he suspects a murder has occurred. With Grace Kelly as his elegant and determined partner, the tension mounts as observation blurs into obsession. Hitchcock crafts a claustrophobic thriller that unfolds almost entirely from one vantage point, yet feels endlessly dynamic. As secrets unravel across courtyards and behind drawn curtains, Rear Window becomes a chilling meditation on curiosity, morality, and the dangers of seeing too much. A slow burn that ends with a bang. Psycho, 1960. Hitchcock's Psycho shattered cinematic conventions and redefined the thriller genre with its bold storytelling and psychological depth. Anthony Perkins delivers an unforgettable performance as Norman Bates, the soft-spoken motel proprietor with a disturbing secret. When Janet Leigh's character vanishes after a desperate theft, the film veers into unexpected territory, culminating in one of the most iconic scenes in film history, the shower sequence. With its jarring score by Bernard Herrmann, stark black and white visuals, and slow-building dread, Psycho peeled back the polite facade of 1960s America to reveal the madness beneath. A bold, brutal descent into fractured identity and maternal obsession, it's the film that made audiences think twice before checking in. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. It's a Wonderful Life isn't just a Christmas movie. It's a heartfelt American classic that blends small-town charm with cosmic stakes. Directed by Frank Capra, it stars Jimmy Stewart as George Bailey, a selfless man brought to the brink of despair until an angel named Clarence shows him what the world would be like if he'd never been born. Set in the snowy town of Bedford Falls, the film traverses love, sacrifice, and the quiet power of everyday decency. Stewart's performance anchors the emotional weight, capturing both the weariness and wonder of a man rediscovering his worth. With its timeless message, "No man is a failure who has friends," Capra's film remains a powerful reminder that even the smallest life can have immeasurable impact. Seven Samurai, 1954. Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai is an epic tale of honor, sacrifice, and survival that laid the groundwork for modern action cinema. Set in 16th century Japan, the story follows a village under threat from bandits that recruits 7 ronin, masterless samurai, to protect them. Led by the wise and weathered Kanbei, played by Takashi Shimura, the group faces overwhelming odds with strategy, courage, and grit. Each warrior brings a distinct personality and purpose, making their bond as compelling as the battles they fight. With sweeping cinematography, kinetic swordplay, and a runtime that never wastes a moment, Seven Samurai is not just a film. It's a blueprint, a towering achievement in world cinema that echoes across genres to this day. 12 Angry Men, 1957. Sidney Lumet's 12 Angry Men is a riveting courtroom drama that transforms a single room into a pressure cooker of conscience, prejudice, and justice. Henry Fonda stars as the lone dissenting juror who refuses to condemn a young defendant without thoughtful deliberation. As tempers flare and biases surface, the film becomes a tense character study of 12 men grappling with their own convictions. Shot almost entirely in one room, Lumet's direction builds claustrophobia and moral tension with surgical precision. With its sharp dialogue, minimalistic setting, and powerhouse performances, 12 Angry Men is a masterclass in storytelling. Proof that justice isn't always obvious, and that one voice can make a difference. A timeless indictment of snap judgment and groupthink. So that's the list. What did you think? Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for watching.